morning to all of you. Today I am going to talk about the second part of the human health and disease. So in this topic we are going to discuss about the immunity and the different types of the immunity. Before that I would like to introduce two technical terms, that is the antigen and antibody. What is the word meaning antigen and antibody? So antigen, antibody. The word antigen means any foreign substances. It may be organic, inorganic, or it may be some living organisms like bacteria or virus. So whatever it may be, the foreign body that must elicit or it must stimulate the immune system of the body. So those foreign bodies which stimulate the immune system of the human body is known as the antigen. So it may be bacteria or it may be virus or any other foreign substances. Only the condition, the foreign substance which elicit or it stimulate the immune system of the body, that foreign substance is known as the antigen. The pollen grains also may be an antigen. Okay. So then what is the antibody? Suppose this is the antigen. And this antigen, when entering into the cell, the lymphocyte present in the cell, blood cell, lymphocyte or the immune cells, this lymphocyte, suppose this is the lymphocyte, this lymphocyte producing a particular chemical. And this chemical is mostly glycoprotein, GP, glycoprotein. And this chemical kill the antigen or it destruct the antigen, destroy the antigen, or it may be neutralize the antigen. And this chemical that it neutralize the antigen, that it destruct the antigen, that it destroy the antigen is known as the antibody. And this antibody is glycoprotein. So that is the word meaning antigen and antibody. There is a branch of the biology that study the interaction between the antigen and antibody, how the antigen, antibody interact with the antigen and how it neutralizes the antigen. There is a branch of the study that is known as the serology. So study of the antigen antibody interaction, that is known as the serology. Okay. Then come to the point that is the immunity. Today we are going to discuss about the immunity. What is actually immunity? Immunity. See, immunity means it is the ability of the body to recognize, to destroy or to neutralize and eliminate the foreign substance. Means antigen. So antigen when enter into the body, recognize this as an antigen and neutralize this antigen or destruct this antigen and then eliminate this antigen from the body. That is known as the immunity. That ability of the human body is known as the immunity. So immunity is the ability of the body to recognize, destroy or neutralize and eliminate the antigen that enter into the body is known as the immunity. This immunity are two types, that is called the innate immunity and acquired immunity. So immunity are two types. Immunity two types, that is the innate immunity and acquired immunity. So what is the difference between these two? Let us see the difference. Innate immunity is also known as the inborn immunity. Inborn, or it get by the birth, by the heredity. So heredity has a part in the inborn immunity or the innate immunity. So innate immunity means the immunity obtained by the birth. And this cannot require any previous experience, without the previous experience. And it got by heredity from the mother and father. The gene already received from the mother and father, that having this character, innate immunity character, and innate immunity is because the heredity. So innate immunity can transfer from one generation to the another generation, and it is obtained by the birth, and it cannot require any previous experience. That is known as the innate immunity. Then acquired immunity means the immunity obtained after the birth due to the infection of the different types of the organisms, microorganisms or antigen, and during this infection the body producing the antibody, and due to this antibody the immunity obtained, that is known as the acquired immunity. So immunity obtained after the birth due to the infection is known as the acquired immunity. So this acquired immunity cannot transfer from generation to generation because it is not heritable. It is no relation with the genes. It is not heritable, but it requiring the previous experience. Previous experience means suppose an infection is happening, for example measles or the chicken pox or the smallpox. When this disease is infected, the body preparing the antibody, this antibody will remaining as far as the individual is living and it protect the body from this disease further. So that is it cannot transfer from the generation to generation, but it requiring the previous experience. So that is the acquired immunity, and that is the innate immunity. And this innate immunity is operating by different barriers. So what are the different barriers? So it operating with the help of the different barriers. The different barriers are: number one, anatomical barriers. Anatomical barriers. Number two, physiological barriers. Physiological barriers. Number third, phagocytic barriers. Phagocytic barriers. And the number fourth is the inflammatory barriers. Inflammatory. So these are the different barriers. Through this barrier, the innate immunity is operating. So let us take what is anatomical barrier. Anatomical barrier actually physically preventing the entry of the microorganisms into the body. The microorganism not enter inside the body because of some barrier, and this barrier mostly skin is one of the, due to the skin the microorganisms cannot penetrate and enter into the body. So that is an anatomical barrier. Another anatomical barrier is the mucus. The mucus is secreting the different part of the body. For example, in the nasal passage, means respiratory passage, mucus is secreting. In the reproductive passage, mucus is secreting. And also in the genital or the urinogenital tract, the mucus is secreting. Gastrointestinal tract, the mucus is secreting. This mucus collecting the microorganisms that enter into the body, and by some mechanism these microorganisms are expelled out. For example, in the respiratory tract, we suffering from the cough. During the cough, the sputum is coming outside, the sputum containing these microorganisms. So all these microorganisms are collected in this mucus, and by the mucus these microorganisms are sent outside, remove outside, eliminate outside. So that mechanism is known as anatomical mechanism. So anatomical barrier is the skin and the mucus secreted in different part of the body. Then physiological mechanism. What is the physiological barrier? Physiological barrier means one, temperature or the fever. When infection taken place, the temperature will increase, and this temperature increasing we call it is a fever. So in this, during the fever, high temperature, the bacteria or the virus cannot live successfully, it will die. So that is the reason why during the infection the temperature is increasing, or the person is suffering from fever, because it is helping to kill the bacteria or the virus. So fever. Then another physiological barrier is the pH. The pH will change. Some of the fluid will secrete, and the fluid having the low pH, acidic pH. Due to this acidic pH, some of the microorganisms cannot live successfully. It will kill. So, for example, the pH in the case of in the stomach is secreting the hydrochloric acid. The hydrochloric acid is near about to 2.5 pH, hydrogen ion concentration. In this pH, the bacteria cannot live successfully. The outer membranes will break and the bacteria will die. Just like the tear containing the lysozyme. Lysozyme is an antibiotic. It will break the outer wall of the bacteria and the bacteria will kill. So these are called physiological barrier that is helping to prevent the infection of the body. Fever, pH, and acid secretion, the different part of even the saliva that is containing the lysozyme, that also helping to kill the bacteria. Tear containing the lysozyme, it is helping to kill the bacteria. And the stomach containing the high powerful or very concentrated hydrochloric acid, that also helping to prevent the infection or the kill the bacteria. That is called the physiological barrier. Then another one is the phagocytic barrier. What is the phagocytic barrier? There are two phagocytic cells in the human body, in the blood. That is the monocyte and neutrophils. These are the two phagocytic cells, neutrophils and monocyte. Neutrophils and monocyte are the phagocytic. This phagocyte, suppose this is the neutrophils, suppose that an antigen, bacteria or some other antigen is coming and it is producing the pseudopodia, and the pseudopodia producing a cup-like structure, and these microorganisms are taken inside and it will digest and kill that microorganism. That is known as the phagocytic method. So usually neutrophils and monocytes are coming in the phagocytic mechanism. And the inflammatory mechanism. What is inflammatory mechanism? When the infection taken place or the damage to a part of the body, and at the place, at the point where the damage or infection taken place, there are three things are happening. One of this is the inflammation. Inflammation means it causing the edema. Edema means the fluid will store at a particular point, so it will swell up, edema or swelling. Swelling happening at the point where the inflammation taken place or the damage taken place. Another thing happening there, it become red colored. The point where the inflammation taken place or where the injury taken place, damage taken place, infection taken place, the color will change. At that point, the red color will appear. Then another point that is happening there, that is the temperature increasing. At the point of the infection, temperature increasing. These 3 points together, that is known as inflammatory reaction. So why the edema is causing, why the red color is appearing there, why the temperature is increased. The red color appeared because the permeability of the membrane, permeability of the blood capillaries that are present at the point of the infection is enlarging. The diameter of the capillaries will enlarge. Why the diameter of the capillary will enlarge? Because a chemical that is known as the mast cell, there is one cell that is known as a mast cell. This mast cell producing two chemicals that is known as the prostaglandin. And also it will produce heparin. Histamine. It actually produces the histamine. This mast cell is present in the tissue. So under the area or connective tissue present below the skin, there are mast cell present. The mast cell producing the prostaglandin and the histamine. Both the prostaglandin and the histamine is a vasodilator. It increases the diameter of the blood vessel. So more blood will rush to the point where the infection taken place or the damage taken place. So the region become red colored. Then why edema is taken place, swelling? Because the permeability of the capillary increases. So the leakage of the chemical leakage of the water present inside the capillary will increase, that is causing the aggregation of the water molecules around the infection where the point of infection taken place, that is causing the swelling. Why the swelling? It is actually because this fluid containing the phagocytic cells, these phagocytic cells are helping to remove the microorganisms. If a microorganism enter through the injury or through the infection, if a microorganism is entering, that microorganism can be destructed by these phagocytic cells that are present in the fluid, edematic fluid. Then why the temperature is increased? The temperature increased, I already told, when the high temperature, the microorganisms cannot live successfully, it will die. So to increasing the temperature, the aim is that to kill the bacteria or the virus that is supposed to enter through this inflammatory point or the injury point or the damaged point or infection point. So these are the different mechanisms or the barriers for the innate immunity. One more mechanism is there, that is the interferon. Interferon is a glycoprotein. It produces the damaged cells or infected cells. When a cell is infected by virus, and these cells will secrete a chemical glycoprotein that is known as interferon. This interferon protect the nearby cells. So that is also a type of the barrier, and just like an anatomical or physiological barrier. So this is the innate immunity, and these are the different types of the anatomical barrier, different types of the barriers for the innate immunity. Okay, and this innate immunity is sufficient for a short time. It cannot protect the body for a long time. So we require the acquired immunity also. So let us study what is acquired immunity. So immunity obtained after the birth is known as the acquired immunity. How the acquired immunity is obtained? What are the characters of the acquired immunity? So acquired immunity, I already told, when the antigen is entering inside, the lymphocyte will come there, and this lymphocyte producing a particular chemical, and this chemical is known as a particular chemical producing and this chemical is known as the antibody, and this antibody killing this antigen, and this antibody remaining as long as the individual is alive, and lifelong protection from this antigen is obtaining after infection. So this is the mechanism of the acquired immunity. And this acquired immunity has some characters. So what are the characters? One of the character of the acquired immunity, it can differentiate self from the non-self. Self and non-self can be differentiated. Self and non-self. Self and non-self can be differentiated. So it cannot, this acquired immunity cannot disturb the molecules or the organs present in the individual's body. For example, in the case of the kidney transplantation, if a kidney is taken place from another person, and this kidney is actually the foreign body considered to that body. So to the body try to reject this kidney, that is known as a self and non-self. But our kidney is remaining without any disturbance because the immune system identified the kidney is our own kidney, and the kidney is coming from another person that is treating as a foreign body, and the body is trying to reject that. So the immunity, the acquired immunity, has the peculiar character that it can distinguish between the self and non-self. Another very important point, character of the acquired immunity, specificity. Specificity means one antibody, suppose this is the antibody, this antibody is specific to the particular antigen. This antibody cannot affect to any other antigen. So one antigen have a particular antibody, or one antibody has a particular antigen, that is known as a specificity. For example, the chickenpox antibody, the antibody against chickenpox, that affecting only the virus responsible for the chickenpox. It cannot affect for the smallpox, it cannot affect for the measles. The antibody produced for the measles that affect only the virus of the measles, antigen of the measles, and not any other antigen. So there is a highly specific antibody reaction is highly specific. And the number third character of the acquired immunity is the diversity. That means there are different types of the millions of the different types of the antibodies, and these antibodies identify the millions of the different types of the antigen. So these antibodies are not one or two, antigen is not one or two, they are very wide in number. So it is called diversity. Diversity, different types of the antibody present, different types of the antigen also present. So that is called diversity. And the last point for the character of the acquired immunity is the memory. Memory. So this memory means actually during the acquired immunity, the lymphocyte producing the antibody, this antibody remaining in the body of the individual as long as he is alive. So when this, for example, chickenpox, once the chickenpox is affected or the smallpox is affected, the antibody is already prepared. This antibody remaining for the long time. So after a few years, the same smallpox or the chickenpox virus is infecting the person. This antibody directly go and immediately it destructs this antigen. So the infection cannot take place. That is the reason why once the smallpox is affected, never smallpox appearing or infect the individual, because the antibody already prepared, and this antibody has the memory, and this antibody recognize that a particular antigen and that destructing this antigen immediately. So these are the four characters of the acquired immunity. This acquired immunity again classified into different types. So what are the different types? That is the active acquired immunity and passive acquired immunity. Active and passive. So passive, just to take active acquired immunity and passive acquired immunity. So first, what is the difference between this active and passive immunity? Active immunity means the antigen is entering into the human body, and the lymphocyte coming there, and the lymphocyte producing this antibody. So it is producing the antibody. So this is the antibody, and this antibody destruct or neutralize this antigen. So the lymphocyte have to do some work, activity, and hence this is known as the active type immunity. Then passive immunity means suppose an antigen enter into the human body. This is the antigen. And the human body containing the antibody already present in the human body. This is the antibody. And this antibody immediately attack this antigen and destroy this antigen. Here lymphocyte not doing any work. So here no work is performed. Activities are performed by the lymphocyte. So this is known as a passive. And this is active because the lymphocyte actually doing the work. So it is known as active. That is the difference between active and passive immunity. So in the active immunity, the lymphocyte actually working and producing the antibody. In passive immunity, antibody already present in the body, in the blood or in the body fluid, antibody already present. And this active immunity again classified into two types. So what are the two types? One of the type of the active immunity is the natural active acquired immunity, and another one is the artificial active acquired immunity. Like that, the passive immunity also two types, that is called the natural passive acquired immunity and artificial passive acquired immunity. So what is the natural active acquired immunity? Natural active acquired immunity means suppose an infection, that is a smallpox. Smallpox disease is affected to a person. I told them against the smallpox virus, it's a viral disease, the body produced an antibody. This antibody, to produce an antibody. So the lymphocyte producing the antibody, this coming under the active, and it is getting after the birth, so it is acquired. It is a natural because the infection taken place is natural. The virus enter in the body naturally, and to kill the virus by producing this antibody by lymphocyte. So this is called a natural active acquired immunity. Then what is artificial? In the artificial immunity, we are applying the vaccine or immunization. By immunization or the vaccine, injecting the vaccine. The vaccine is actually the dead or attenuated microorganisms. For example, the chicken pox or the smallpox, it is caused by the virus. The virus is attenuated. The virus is killed, not actually completely killed, but it is inactivated. That inactivated condition is known as the attenuated microorganism. And this attenuated microorganism, or some case, the virus producing or the microorganism producing the toxic material, that is known as a toxoid. So the toxoid, the vaccine is actually toxoid or toxin or the attenuated microorganisms. This microorganism, or it is called the vaccine, this vaccine is injecting the body. Due to this vaccine, the vaccine containing the antibody, the body producing the antibody, and this antibody preventing the infection. So it is called an artificial method because we artificially injecting the vaccine containing the attenuated microorganism. So when microorganism enter the body producing the antibody. So it is an active lymphocyte producing the antibody, and this antibody protecting the body. That is known as artificial method of the active acquired immunity. Okay, so this is artificial active, that is a vaccination, and natural active, that is called as infection, due to some infection. And then passive, come to the passive. Here the lymphocyte cannot do any work, it cannot synthesize any glycoproteins or the antibodies. We already inject the antibody into the body. Then it is getting the protection from the infection. So it is called a passive because lymphocyte cannot do any work. So this is also natural and artificial. Let us take the natural passive acquired immunity. For example, during the birth, after the birth, the baby, when baby come outside, the mother giving the colostrum. Colostrum is the very solid yellow colored milk, the first 2 or 3 days milk coming from the breast of the mother. That is known as a colostrum. This colostrum containing a particular antibody, that is known as immunoglobulin IgA, immunoglobulin A antibody present. And this immunoglobulin A producing protection or the resist many of the microorganisms present outside the body, so the baby cannot affect any infection because the presence of the immunoglobulin A. It is due to the colostrum present, colostrum containing this immunoglobulin. Colostrum is the colostrum Colostrum is the yellow colored, very semi-solid milk coming from the first few days of the mother's milk. So it is containing the immunoglobulin A. It is an antibody. This antibody giving the protection. So it is called passive because antibody is giving the cell not doing any function. Lymphocyte not doing any function. So this is coming under the passive and it is naturally getting from the mother. So it is called a natural passive acquired immunity. Then what is artificial passive acquired immunity? In artificial passive acquired immunity for some disease, for example rabies. So rabies is due to some microorganism. This microorganism injecting into the horse, hyperimmunization. It is not a hyperimmunization. The horse and the horse body, the blood containing this antibody against this microorganism that is causing the rabies. This against this microorganism, antibodies are producing in the hypersensitive, hyperimmunized horse. And from the horse, the blood collecting from the blood, this antibodies is separating, and this antibodies is given to the patient of the dog bite or the rabies. So the antibody is injecting into the body. Antibody directly injecting into the body. So the cell cannot produce the antibody, not necessary to produce the antibody. So not doing any work by the lymphocyte. And this antibody directly injecting and it giving protection from the rabies. That is known as artificial passive acquired immunity. So that is the acquired immunity, active, passive in both the natural, artificial. And take one example for each and remember that. So that is the part number 2, that is the immunity. So I explained today what is the antigen, what is the antibody, what is the antigen-antibody reaction, that is known as a branch of the science that is called serology. And immunity, what is immunity, what are the different types of immunity, what are the characters of the innate immunity, what are the barriers of the innate immunity, what are the characters of the acquired immunity, and what are the classification, what are the types of the acquired immunity. Okay, thank you very much.